This is part 2 of the tutorial for TalkToMe, an app that lets a user type in something they want to hear, and then text-to-speech says it. In part 1, you created a button that the user can press to hear a message that you set. But right now, in order to change what words your app says, you have to edit the code. This wouldn't be very much fun for any other users. So in this part, we'll add a text box so that the user can type in whatever they want the app to say. Back in the designer, look in the user interface section for a component that's called text box. Grab one and drag it onto your phone screen. You can put it above the button or below the button. Your app, your choices. Then you can think about customizing your text box, just like you did with the button, by looking at its properties. If you want to make it bigger or smaller, you can. If you want to make the font, the letters that the user types in the box, larger or smaller or a different color, try that too. I'll make the text that gets typed into mine blue, like the text on the button. I probably won't see that in the designer, but I will see it when I test my app. Most of these properties are things that you have seen before with buttons or images. The text box has one special one we want to pay attention to. It's this one that says hint. A hint is light gray text that appears in the box before the user starts to type, to give them some idea of what the text box will do. You've possibly seen this before when you started to type a password into a box or a username. Right now it says hint for text box 1. That doesn't really make sense to have your app say that. You probably want to either erase that text and just leave it blank, or type a useful hint, like type something you want me to say. Again, this is hard to notice because it's not something you'll see while you're designing your app. You won't see it until your app is running on the device. That's all for the designer. We just needed to add one new piece and learn a little bit about it. Now we need to change one single block in order to make text-to-speech say whatever is in the text box. Let's switch to blocks. Remember, right now your app always says whatever is in this pink box right here. To make it say what the user typed in the text box on the screen instead, we'll take out this text block and we'll throw it away. In its place, we'll put in a new type of block, a light green block that says textbox1.text. Since it starts with the word text box, that's where you'll find it. See how there are lots of light and dark green blocks? We're looking for this one that says textbox.text. Grab that and attach it to the message spot of the purple block, where the pink one was before. Now what does that mean? What you're saying here is you are telling the app that the message you want it to speak is the text box's text. You are telling it to say whatever text is in the text box. That's why it says textbox.text. In English, we use an apostrophe and an S to show that something belongs to someone. In App Inventor, and a lot of other programming languages, we use a dot to show that instead. The text box's text. Pause for a second and ask yourself if that makes sense. Could you explain to someone else what this code does? If you can't yet, try re-watching the video, asking a neighbor for help, or raising a hand to talk to a teacher. It's important that you understand why this works before you go on to testing to see if it does. If you've got the idea, then it's time to stop and test this. Load your app on a device and try it. Make sure you can type a message in the text box and press the button to hear it out loud. If it doesn't work, double check your code carefully, maybe with a friend, and try it again. When it does work, then go on to part 3. You're doing great.